Hello, my name is Natalie Arnson, and I will be discussing Epogen and Procrit as a part of my research presentation. So the first question I'll be addressing today is, how was this drug developed? What is the science behind the production of this drug? So this drug, Epogen and Procrit, is a drug that was used and discovered by biotechnology. So our DNA was used to produce the biological effect of erythropoietin using and being produced by mammalian cells through the use of recombinant DNA. This is a man-made form of erythropoietin. Procrit and Epogen are a man-made form of erythropoietin that causes your bone marrow to make more red blood cells. This in turn raises your hemoglobin level and may reduce the overall effect or need for blood transfusion. The rise to hemoglobin is not immediate, it usually takes 2 to 6 weeks before the number of red blood cells increases in your body, but the individual results of Procrit may vary. So, Epogen and Procrit are considered erythropoiesis-stimulating agents, ESAs, that bind to progenitor stem cells and stimulate the production and differentiation of red blood cells. Epogen and Procrit stimulate erythropoiesis by the same mechanism as traditional erythropoietin. Epogen and Procrit increase the reticulocyte count within 10 days of initiation, followed by increases in the red blood cell count, hemoglobin, and hematocrit, usually within that 2 to 6 week time frame. How is this drug made? So this drug, Epogen, is specifically a product of the genetic engineering of ovarian cells of the Chinese hamster and is produced through recombinant DNA technology through the use of bacteria. Procrit, also known as biotin alpha, is a 165 acid glycoprotein manufactured by recombinant DNA technology, the same as that of Epogen, and has the same biological effects as traditional erythropoietin. Both companies, Epogen and Procrit, manufacture the same product, however. So what company makes this drug? Did they develop or acquire the rights to produce this drug from a different company? And or how did they achieve the rights to be able to develop it? So, Epogen was created by the company Epogen. Biotin is manufactured and marketed by the brand Epogen under the trade name Epogen. Then Johnson & Johnson subsidiary Janssen Biotech, formerly known as Ortho Biotech Company and Products LP, sells the same drug under the same name of Procrit, pursuant to product license agreement. So Procrit is then therefore under the company of Johnson & Johnson, Ortho Biotech, which is now named Janssen Biotech. And since then, Ortho Biotech has been marketing the same biotin alpha, otherwise known as Epogen, manufactured by Epogen in the US under that brand name. So this chart goes to explain the company breakdown of Epogen and Procrit. But basically, the first RU EPO, biotin alpha, was manufactured by Epogen and sold as Epogen in the United States for dialysis patients in 1989. In 1985, Epogen transferred the rights to all non-dialysis indications in the U.S. and all indications outside the U.S., excluding Japan, to Johnson & Johnson and its affiliate, Ortho Biotech, in a long-standing licensing agreement. Since then, Ortho Biotech has marketed the same biotin alpha manufactured by Epogen in the United States under the brand name Procrit. After technology transfer, Ortho Biotech began to manufacture biotin alpha in its own facility in Puerto Rico and sells it in most markets outside the U.S. under the brand name Eprex. Epogen licensed biotin alpha to Curran Brewery in Japan, which manufactures biotin alpha in its own plant after a similar technology transfer. This provides a visual interpretation of the technology transfer of biotin alpha. And key to the development of the first competitive marketplace was the patient debate regarding EPO, which is one of the largest and lengthiest battles known to pharmaceutical industry, which we will discuss later on. So what else is relevant about this company? Were they the first to do something? Are they the biggest? And is this the only thing they do? Or what else do they do? So the company Epogen also creates a variety of products as listed here. The relevancy first comes from the company slogan. So Epogen is one of the world's leading biotechnology companies, and it values company-based mottos that are deeply rooted in science and innovation to transform new ideas and discoveries into medicines for patients with serious illnesses. They have efforts in 4 major categories, including healthy people, healthy society, healthy planet, and a healthy Epogen. They hold themselves to high standards in all that they do to ensure culture and products reflect Epogen values. Are they the first to do something? Yes, but indirectly. So, a guy named Eugene Goldwasser, the scientist who first purified erythropoietin, the hormone that stimulates the production of red blood cells, was unsuccessful in persuading the University of Chicago to patent his discovery, a novel concept at the time, and he worked as a consultant for the startup biotechnology company Epogen, sharing his expertise methods in some of the purified erythropoietin to help them discover the clone of the erythropoietin gene. Epogen then patented the product of recombinant erythropoietin in 1987 and secured FDA approval of the drug in 1989 for treatment of anemia in patients undergoing dialysis. So yes, but no. And are they the biggest? No. But the company who previously owned this product and or owns part of this product is the largest biotech company in the world, being Johnson & Johnson. So this diagram explains the variety of versions of Epogen as well as different products in which they're marketed under, listed around in here. So, what does this drug do? What disease does it treat? How is the disease or problem treated? Does it cure it, alleviate, etc.? So, what does this drug do? Procrit, again, is a man-made form of erythropoietin that causes your bone marrow to make more blood cells, ultimately. The disease and problem that are treated is a variety of different, but most commonly known as anemia. As well as it helps patients who are HIV infected. It reduces allogenic red blood cell count transfusion, compliant, myelosuppressive chemotherapy. Regarding treating versus curing symptoms, Procrit and or Epogen may be used to treat a lower than normal amounts of red blood cells, which can help treat anemia, but it more or less just affects some of the other diseases as a result. This chart goes to explain a breakdown of anemia in a populational study. So this is the overall breakdown. This is the female within moderate to severe anemia, as well as male and female based on ethnic portions as well as age range. Epogen and Procrit, the scientific process. So, what does this drug do scientifically? Epogen and Procrit are the ESAs. They bind to those stem cells, stimulate the production of differentiation of red blood cells. They increase the reticulocyte 10 days of initiation, followed by the increases in red blood cell count, hemoglobin, and hematocrit within that 2 to 6 week period. So overall, the rate of hemoglobin increases, which helps to affect those who are suffering from those disorders or as well as the symptoms. This is a total breakdown of different types of symptoms as well as patients treated with Epogen as well as the placebo in patients. It's interesting to note at the death percentile versus the patients who were treated, those of placebo treated. So, how effective is this drug in total? So, the effectiveness of the drug, biggest point, determined by right dosage. So this needs to be a specific dosage that's given to patients. Otherwise, it can have severe effects on patients if they're given too high or too low of a treatment, particularly that of a higher dose. Overall, when used in the right dosage, this medication can be effective with medium to high ratings. However, when used in the wrong or elevated dosage, this medication can be lethal, especially for those who are already deemed as chronically ill. There was a variety of long-term study concerns as well as safety concerns that were posed regarding those in randomized or double-blind parallel and series trials. But some of the analysis reinforced the previous conclusions of similar safety profiles between Epogen alpha EVX and Epogen alpha had no unexpected safety signals during long-term treatment. There were other trials done regarding HIV patients as well as cancer patients that we can see as well. So again, it's highly effective for treatments when correct dosage is used. This is a breakdown of a couple studies for chemotherapy as well as radiotherapy patients, as well as what the hemoglobin target is, the median, as well as the adverse effects for those who are dealing with those issues. So, what proportion of the population has this disease and problem, and what does it treat? What portion of the population does need this drug? The proportion of the population with the disease and problem, it states that anemia makes up 25% of the population, or known as 1.6 billion people worldwide. Anemia in the US population was 5.6 with a 95% confidence interval of 5.1 to 6.1%. Um, what proportion of this population needs or will use this drug? A well-studied treatment given to more than 2.8 million people on dialysis with anemia. So almost 1 million Americans take one of the drugs, either Epogen or Procrit, and they are used to treat anemia caused by kidney failure or through the use of chemotherapy. This is just a breakdown of the hemoglobin thresholds to define anemia for population groups. We can see a children breakdown as well as non-pregnant women, pregnant women, as well as men. How is the drug being marketed? So, the drug marketing, there is a bunch of information on both the Epogen and Procrit website, as well as recommendations for treatments through a variety of studies, and the commercial marketing campaign of 2004, where a series of different campaign protocols were announced via commercial form. Sales products breakdown. So, what that looks like here is that a 30-day supply of Procrit costs well over $2,000, and prices of Epogen average around $800 per month. But a study conducted for the sales breakdown of Epogen in 2021 states that the total sales for the established products, which include that of Epogen and Procrit, decreased 27% year over year for the fourth quarter and decreased 25% for the full year, primarily driven by volume declines and lower net selling price in the fourth quarter. And the published average selling price had declined 38% year for year and 10% quarter over quarter. Going forward, we expect this additional net price and volume erosion across this portfolio of products. So, yep. And then this is a breakdown of the sales, discussing just like a bunch of different ranges. But this was in regards to the sales breakdown in 1992 from the pink sheet, as well as some information listed on the Procrit website as the breakdown year to year. This is also another breakdown, including the gap and EPS costs. So, who or what are the companies that use or make this drug in a competitor form? So, the company, competitor, and product is Procrit with Pfizer. What Procrit is according to the manufacturer, it may provide patients and their physicians with an increased access to a high-quality, lower-cost alternative treatment for anemia and reduction of allogenic blood cell count transfusions in certain patients. While there's no mention of the exact cost, it appears it will be more affordable than Epogen and Procrit. And on May 15th of 2018, the FDA approved Procrit as a subsidiary of Pfizer as a biosimilar product to Epogen and Procrit for the treatment of anemia due to chronic kidney disease in patients on dialysis and not on dialysis, as well as other disorders. It is approved for the reduction of the allogenic red blood cell transfusions in patients undergoing those of non-cardiac and non-vascular surgery. So the benefit is basically it's a biosimilar product with the lower cost and that it's FDA approved. So how does this drug and sale develop or affect and change our society? The growth of modern medical care. Ultimately, genetically engineered biological proteins derived from humans, animal, or microbiome sources in a major area of growth in modern medical care, accounting for 1/3 of the new drug approvals in the past decade. We must, though, consider that there is the greed of the pharmaceutical companies. Over the past several years, Epogen is ranked as the single costliest medicine under Medicare, and U.S. taxpayers put up as much as $3 billion a year for the drugs, whether you choose to have those drugs or not. We are still long-term paying for those drugs. Number 11, are there any ethical or moral questions related to the development or use of the drug? So the first question is this drug still relevant today? Epogen says that Epogen was out of the market starting in 1989 all the way up to the present and is still on the market, which means that it's been on the market for 7 years now. Also, Procrit, which is still a biotechnology alpha, it's just a different name for Epogen, was on the market starting in January of 1991 and also up to date in the present and is still on the market for the past 5 years. Is this drug safe in terms of the benefits versus side effects? So from an ethical point of view, I would say that the Epogen company did test and research Epogen thoroughly for adults as well as children. And the advantage is that it reduces the amount of blood transfusions, rejection reaction of kidney transplants and risk of infection. But there are disadvantage points to Epogen, including injection, which gives a small chance for infection, medicine stings, possibility of headache, nausea, vomiting, high blood pressure, high potassium, a cough, rapid heartbeat, shortness of breath, itching, hives, skin rash. Also, if a patient is pregnant, unknown risks to the embryo. So there are still side effects. Is Amogen's reputation as a biotech company reputable? So Amogen's payments to clinics and doctors prescribe its drug to patients. The articles pose questions about the ethics, although, is it legal? What if appears to be that the payments of medical practitioners can increase the use of the drug by being paid to do so by the biotech company? Monopoly practices, kind of discussed earlier, that huge scandal, trying to figure out if Amogen is trying to cut off the market based on the use of trying to limit those who are within the dialysis market. Doping scandal in the sports world. So the administration of recombinant erythropoietin was prohibited by the International Olympic Committee, and its use was considered doping. So is there more risk than reward? The poor use of the product. Again, if too high of a dosage is permitted, we must see that there must be some sort of things we must look into. So Epogen and Procrit, changes in policy. The FDA used to recommend that ESAs were used to maintain hemoglobin levels between 10 to 12. Now it's hopefully listing is a little less than that, and those who were getting higher dosages were seen to have higher risks of lethal effects such as death or other adverse medical problems. So major societal impact overall, clinical utility. The treatment of CDCAN patients in dialysis, as well as those on not dialysis. Zidofine in HIV-infected patients, chemotherapy impact, and the reduction of allogenic red blood cell count transfusions for those undergoing elective, non-cardiac, or non-vascular surgery. So that's kind of all I have for you. I hope that you learned something, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Thank you so much. These are all my sources as well.